Imagine two men standing on the exact same stage on the exact same night in the fall of 2014. Both men are 45 years old, both are senior directors at major logistics firms. Earning identical salaries of $190,000 a year, both walk home with the exact same sense of pride, believing their financial futures are completely secure. Yet, as you listen to this right now, one of these men is preparing to retire at age 60, with a liquid net worth of over $4.2 million, living with absolute freedom, zero financial anxiety, and total control over his time, while the other man, at 65 years old, is sitting at his kitchen table late at night, staring at a stack of unpaid medical bills and a dwindling portfolio, realizing he will likely have to work until the day he dies. What happened during those 15 crucial years? What single hidden decision at age 45 set their lives on completely opposite trajectories? The answer isn't a stock market crash, it isn't bad luck. And it certainly isn't a lack of hard work, it is a psychological trap. A silent financial mistake that over 80% of high-earning 45-year-olds make without ever realizing it, and by the end of this breakdown, you will not only uncover the exact mechanism behind this mistake, but you will also learn the 3 hidden business growth strategies that top wealth managers use to completely immunize your portfolio against it. Let's look at the case study of Mark and David. To understand how two identical financial lives tear apart, we have to look back at the autumn of their 45th year. Mark and David were best friends. They drove similar cars, lived in the same suburban neighborhood, and had children entering high school. On paper, they were identical twins of middle-class success, when David received a $25,000 annual bonus. He did what felt completely natural. He looked at his home, decided it was time to upgrade the kitchen and landscape the backyard, and booked a luxury family vacation to celebrate 20 years of hard work. David thought to himself, I earn almost $200,000 a year. I put 6% into my company, $401K. I deserve to enjoy the fruits of my labor now while my kids are still home. It sounded completely reasonable, almost responsible, but across the street, Mark received the exact same $25,000 bonus and made a choice that looked, on the surface, completely unimpressive. Mark didn't upgrade his home, he didn't buy a new car. Instead, he treated his household like a private equity firm. Mark understood a fundamental law of wealth psychology that David ignored. Peak earning power is a temporary illusion. When you hit your mid-40s, your brain tricks you into believing your high income is a permanent feature of your life. You feel stable, confident, secure, so without even noticing, your lifestyle quietly expands to swallow every extra dollar you make. Behavioral economists call this lifestyle creep, but in reality, it is a silent executioner of retirement security. Here is where the math gets brutal. When you are 25 years old, time is your greatest asset. A single dollar invested at 25 doubles 4 or 5 times before you reach retirement. But at 45, the runway shrinks. A dollar invested at 45 will likely only double once or twice before you need to rely on it. That means when David spent that $25,000 bonus, he wasn't just spending $25,000, he was destroying over $120,000 of future wealth. Yet, spending wasn't David's biggest mistake. Something far more dangerous was hiding inside his balance sheet. You see, David believed that paying off his mortgage as fast as possible was the ultimate goal of personal finance. Every extra dollar he had went straight into his 3% mortgage balance. He wanted the emotional relief of holding that deed. Mark, on the other hand, looked at his household like a corporate balance sheet. He realized that locking hundreds of thousands of dollars inside the walls of a house creates an illiquid asset that yields zero daily cash flow, while David was pouring cash into a physical structure that produced no income. Mark took his surplus capital and applied a business strategy known as asymmetric capital allocation. Instead of chasing generic target date mutual funds, which are loaded with hidden advisory fees and overly conservative bonds, Mark split his wealth building into 3 distinct engines. First, an aggressive market index core. Second, a high-yield asset engine designed for inflation defense. And third, a tax-free liquid bucket. Mark knew that standard retirement accounts are actually a massive tax trap when you dump all your money into pre-tax accounts. You aren't building pure wealth, you are building a joint venture with the government, where they hold all the rules to the tax rates when you withdraw. While Mark was quietly engineering this three-tier financial machine, David was celebrating paying off 40% of his house, feeling like he was winning the game. Then came the year 2022, an economic storm that changed everything. When high inflation hit, paired with a sudden market correction, David's portfolio took a massive 22% hit. Because David had tied up all his liquid cash in his mortgage, he didn't have a buffer. He felt panicky, stressed, and made the classic emotional mistake. He froze. He stopped making extra contributions to his investments, waiting for the market to feel safe again. He didn't realize that freezing during a correction is the absolute worst thing a 45-year-old can do. When the market dips, assets go on sale. By stopping his contributions, David missed the largest recovery run of the decade. Mark, using his private equity mindset, didn't panic. He had built an emergency liquidity buffer when the market pulled back. Mark used the downturn to execute a tax loss harvesting strategy, automatically converting paper losses into tax offsets while purchasing heavily discounted asset classes. Mark wasn't smarter than David. He didn't have special Wall Street secrets. He simply followed a systematic protocol instead of relying on emotional instincts. Now, fast forward to the present day, David is sitting in his paid-off house, surrounded by expensive renovations, but his liquid portfolio is less than $600,000. With inflation eating away at his purchasing power, he faces a stark reality: he cannot stop working. His home equity cannot buy groceries, pay health insurance premiums, or fund travel. Mark, on the other hand, sits on over $4 million in diversified, cash-flowing assets. His portfolio generates more monthly income than his job ever paid him. He didn't just save for retirement. He built an engine of permanent freedom. So, how do you avoid David's fate and apply Mark's trajectory starting today? It boils down to three simple, yet radical shifts in how you handle your money in your mid-40s. Shift number 1, treat your personal finances like a growing corporation. Stop managing money like a consumer who just pays bills and saves the scraps. Calculate your actual net worth velocity, track your true overhead, and treat your savings rate as your company's net profit margin. If your household isn't retaining at least 20 to 30% of its gross revenue, you are operating at a strategic loss. Shift number 2, eliminate debt strategically, not emotionally. Prioritize high-interest debt aggressively. But do not starve your compound growth engines just to pay off low-interest, fixed mortgages early. Liquid cash flow and invested assets give you options. Illiquid home equity gives you a roof, but no flexibility. And shift number 3, diversify your tax buckets immediately. Do not leave all your wealth in traditional tax-deferred accounts. Balance your wealth between taxable brokerage accounts, tax-deferred accounts, and tax-free Roth structures. This gives you complete strategic control over your tax brackets when you enter your 60s. The age of 45 is not a waiting room. It is the final, most important window of leverage in your financial life. The choices you make right now, in this exact decade, will determine whether your future self lives in financial anxiety or complete, unshakable independence. Take a hard look at your strategy today.